There was a study done by Richard Hood. He's been working with Indian football in different ways. He does a study to see, where do Indian footballers come from? And he looked at all the players in the ISL. And he says that, less than 7% of India's population produces 80% of the minutes of footballers.
When I was in my class, then we don't have football, no. The place where the football is kept, that room was always locked. So we were not allowed to go and get the football. So we used to play with the water bottles, we fill it with stones. So we used to do that only.
Think about this, when we have kids who are in 8th standard, 6th standard, 7th standard who already know you need to go for IIT coaching, you need to write an exam, you do that course and then you have success. How many 6th standard, 7th standard students know how to go pro in sports? The pathway is so blurry.
Do you feel like there's some moments or some things that could have been different which would have made this journey for you? Welcome to another episode of Gameplay Sport, and today we're going to talk about professional athletes in India and what their journey is. With me I have the usual suspects, Rahul Day and Kailash.
Two of us who could have been professional athletes but chose not to for the betterment of society.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think I would count myself in the same bucket. But yeah, why do you think, we don't produce as many athletes, let's say in an Olympics? So I came across this interesting stat. The last Paris 2024 Olympic squad that India had 117 athletes. And the US in Paris 2024 had 500 plus athletes. China had 400 plus athletes. So why do you think that is? Why are we not able to produce as many athletes? How do we look at it?
So, because we've been talking a lot about this, and there was an earlier episode where we were talking about how the journey to be a world-class athlete actually is broken down in just like, if you're a student and you want to become a world-class engineer, world-class doctor, the journey of an athlete also has to go through different phases. Yeah. And in India, I think there are unique challenges that you go through when you go through this, if your life cycle of being an athlete. And I think in an earlier episode, you were also talking about how at a point, even at the earliest time, when kids are first picking up a sport, that itself tells you a lot about someone actually making it to become a world competitive athlete, let alone a world winning athlete.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So let's maybe start like that. Let's go from the beginning. So, of course, it's a very complex situation in India, and there are a lot of barriers, not just in sports, I think in everything. There's class, caste, gender. But let's keep it simple. Let's look at maybe a situation where we have a child growing up in a particular place in the country and getting maybe favorable options throughout, and see maybe how that journey goes. Shall we look at it that way?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start, because I think in general we understand the kind of constraints which normally a person in India would have. We have addressed a few in previous episodes, like the access to grounds, right, or the pay gap which has been there. But if we have to understand why we are not producing professional athletes, I think there are so many factors which are working, and I think that's a good place to start, to see how we can actually see it almost like scientists, clear all the other variables and see what is happening.
Yeah, good. So maybe let's start from the youngest category. 0 to 6.
How does someone even pick up a sport?
Yeah, how does it start? How do you, get into the mode of playing sport itself?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't think...
So I think one way of thinking about it, Arvind, you can tell me more, you can think of it from sociological perspective. So there could be individual, I remember there was one famous photo of Sachin Tendulkar with a bat at 3 years old, or Tiger Woods with a golf club 2.5 years. There could be certain individual cases where your parents, for some reason you picked up a sport and they sort of helped you learn from a very early on. But if you want to think sociologically, what produces a pool of good players, I think the environment you're born into can play a really big role. And maybe I thought I'll just start by citing a study, and maybe you guys can also give me or whatever anecdotal or things you know about it, that there was a study done by Richard Hood, who's he's been working with Indian football in different ways, and he's a performance specialist. And he does a study to see, where do Indian footballers come from? And he looked at all the players in the ISL. And he found that 80% of the minutes of people playing in the ISL are players who come from a few districts in India. So he kind of brings it down
Like
to...
it's not even states.
It's not even states.
Brings it down to districts.
Yeah, so there's less than
Wow,
20
that's-
districts, and he says that, less than 7% of India's population produces 80% of the minutes of footballers. And if you look closely, they are in 7 states in India, which is Mizoram, Manipur, Punjab, Bengal, Kerala,
And
Goa,
Karnataka, no?
and I'm forgetting the 7th one. And within that, there's some districts. And, when he looks closer, he says, some of the things that make a big difference for someone getting into sport is to grow up watching it and seeing excitement around you and getting access very early to both being able to play and finding people who can, at such an early age, it's just not even training. It's sort of just exposing you to the sport. And that kind of excitement, connection, seeing people playing, all of that really makes a difference in even children choosing to get into a sport.
I think the example we can also give is of the Kodava community playing hockey. They have their own families which play hockey in an annual event.
Yeah.
And I think you do see there is a connection where the number of people from that small district in Karnataka who have actually gone and played for India and in general helped in the development of hockey, I think is pretty much...
Yeah, actually not just hockey. What's interesting in that is that it's a family event. This is usually organized by a particular family, and that rotates every year, and the family organizes it, and the entire community is pretty much there. And you would have, it's a very interesting example also, because I've heard of some of my friends who would say that, okay, this particular national player is in my team. And yeah, so just imagine a place where you're having this tournament and you have players of different abilities. There are kids, there are older people, and there are national level players all playing in just that one same place. So that must be a pretty powerful...
Yeah, I think the general culture which you have around at least makes you known for certain rules or what to do, or just understand how sports works.
Yeah.
And I think it's helpful.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not just hockey. I think culture or an environment like this has in fact created a lot of sports people from Kodava community in other sports as well, right? So we are saying that at an early age, if you are exposed to a community and if you are exposed to a culture of being outdoors, playing sports, and you also get access to people who are playing it at a high level, so you get to see all of this, and that can make a big impact.
I don't think it's just that. I think, yes, you need to have a setting, you need to have an environment where you're introduced to the sport, but I think there has to be also some clear pathway as to where and what children, especially who are taking up sports, want to do. Because I've had, I've heard my own friends who used to be in my team when I was playing basketball. When I asked them, hey, are you going to put your kid into basketball? And they're like, no, I think some sport which actually will, have access to some riches or something.
Yeah, which actually leads to some...
Yeah, not a lot of them would want their children to play the sport that they have loved and, they really like it, but they're like, no, there's no future in basketball, don't play. I mean, I think even though there is context, if the parent is dismissive of the sport, thanks to the structural changes of the country, I mean, the kid loses interest like this.
That's true, actually. I mean, we have to look at it from a long-term perspective also, right? Like when you're a young child, of course, you're playing something, but over the years, you have to make a case. There comes a point where you have to decide, right? Whether you want to do this seriously. And that time, even if you are in a culture of playing sport, like we could take other examples. For example, north of Kerala, Malappuram district is super popular for football. They have their own league, something similar sort of a story.
Yeah, the Sevens, right?
Yeah, the Malappuram Sevens. And
they're like really popular locally.
Very popular, will have people coming and watching in droves, like 10,000 to 25,000 people watching each match. And it's a subculture by itself in that part of Kerala. But and I'm sure it's one of the districts that would probably
figure in that study
as well. But if I'm a parent there, and I'm seeing what's happening with football at the moment, will I have the confidence to say that, okay, you're good, but you need to, continue this trajectory and I'll support you?
So, I mean, I'll just give you another counter. So, I think the sports and culture thing is kind of a strange fit. So, basketball is not really an Indian sport per se, right? And even when you were growing up, it didn't have the kind of visibility or knowledge. Some sports fit in better. So, I've been reading this book by this journalist, Rudranil Dasgupta, and he's written a book on called Enter the Dangal, which looks at cultures of Kushti. And, he went and he actually studied, how people get into Kushti, and he found in like North India, mainly Haryana, it's a thing that starts from the village, where in village, if you are a prosperous household, you will send one of your kids to the local Pelwan to get training. And it's a sign of prosperity to be able to feed the kind of meals that Pelwans have to have. So a lot of sugar, a lot of ghee, a lot of dry fruits. So you have to have a cow.
Right.
And those kids are sent.
It's having
and
like a low
there is
mileage car. Fancy German low mileage car to show
Yeah,
off
yeah,
that
show
they
off
can.
Yeah. So those kids are not sent that they'll become Olympic wrestlers because no one has that imagination. Instead, they have a pathway, which is that, there's a season where local akhadas compete in dangals. And there are so many dangals across North India that, once you reach a professional age, which is around 15 to 16, you start visiting maybe like 20, 25 dangals in a season. And so for those kids, they are like entourages, where from all the way from 5, 6 years old to teenagers, everyone is going with their local champions around, and you're getting to see, and you start seeing that there's so much crowd following. You could make a lot of money. You could get spotted. So just by being a traditional sport, it has more pathways, and you can see that translates that, India is more successful in wrestling than maybe there are only 2-3 sports, right? Archery, boxing, wrestling, shooting, which we've managed to produce world-class athletes. And this is maybe an example of actually if there's an organic local culture, it could provide what you call the fertile ground from which athletes could potentially come. Right?
Okay, so let's move on to the next stage, which is 6 to 12 years. So let's assume till this point, from 0 to 6, let's assume this hypothetical child who's had this tailwind, cultural tailwind, where people around have celebrated certain sport, and he or she has had role models, parents have supported, the community has supported, and has picked up what, according to our earlier LTAD model also, picked up all the fundamentals of movement. Now is the next stage. The next stage is 6 to 12, where you need to now start preparing a little more sport-specific skills. So you will maybe play more than 1 or 2 sports. You will also spend more time being active. But it also coincides, of course, with the school, right? So now you are in school. So who are the major players now in this stage?
I mean,
India is parents. Parents are here.
Parents certainly would want, they would also want you not just to focus on sports, but there are other activities which also might come in. And then there is obviously the school itself. So parents is one. The school itself is how the school is built, what's its philosophy.
How many
facilities
facilities do you have?
Facilities do they have?
Yeah.
And again, what kind of school is it? And we have already spoken about how school infrastructure is required for it. So I think schools become a major thing, and I think they are the one. Obviously the state, because I feel the state also ensures, I mean, the youth services do have the smaller zonal level tournaments, the Department of Sports. And so I think those 3 are like the major ones who are now.
And now increasingly, private academies are entering this picture, where we talked about in an earlier episode how there are more and more private academies available, and many kids who are getting into serious sports have access to private academies.
Yeah. So in general, from at least what I have seen also, is that you are expected to train in school and maybe outside school as well, right? That's usually how it works for these athletes. And now we are going to go meet a special guest who will take us through their journey as a professional athlete. Welcome again to all the Gameplay Sports viewers. So today we have our special guest whom we want to talk to, Raziya. Raziya is a professional football player who has been playing for FC Odisha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have Raziya in the studio today, and we're going to talk to her about her journey as an athlete. So welcome, Raziya.
Thank you. Thank you for this, inviting me.
No, we are glad that we could get you. from your busy schedule.
No, no, no.
When did you first kick a ball
Yeah.
till the selection?
Yeah.
How much?
No, like actually, what used to happen is when I was in my class, then we don't have football. No, we used to play with bottle only. Like there is a bottle, no. So we used to fill up with stones and
Huh.
then.
Like water bottle?
Yeah, water bottle.
जैसे Pepsi
yeah.
Coke type
yeah.
का bottle. हाँ.
Because the place where the football is kept, no, it was that room was always locked. So we were not allowed to go and get the football. So we used to play with a water bottle inside stones. Like we fill it with stones. So we used to do that only. But then there was Bhaiya, Abhishek Bhaiya. He told me that there is something like football trial going on. KKM league used to happen like only once in a year.
What is KKM again?
KKM is Khel Khel Mein League.
Okay.
So it's a part of Teach for. It was a part of Teach for India only. The Teach for India used to organize that league. All the TFI students used to come to a place and they used to play like. From different school they used to
Schools.
come and
Okay.
then play.
So it was like an inter-school, but
Yeah.
mostly TFI schools.
Yeah,
का
TFI schools.
league.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at that time, Abhishek Bhaiya told me that there is a trial going on. So I just went, and then everybody was beginner. Like at that age, I was like around 9 years old, maybe, you know.
Huh.
So I didn't knew anything. So I just went, and then I got selected. I don't know how.
Okay.
And then when I actually went for that league, when I actually went there and played with other schools, and then I was like, yeah, okay, something can happen. It was like that, you know. Then
You had played with a football before that, or
no.
That was the first time.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was the first time when I
Okay.
played, when I saw football,
Okay.
you know. And then like
By the way, this is where was this happening in?
in my 4th grade in Delhi, like
Delhi.
in my school,
Okay.
there was like some government school where
which
TFI.
place was this?
In Saket, Sangam
Saket.
Bihar.
Okay.
Yeah, it's near Saket only.
Okay.
So there we used to go. Like then after some days we trained as the player whoever was selected. We trained as a team. Abhishek
Okay.
Bhaiya was the coach.
coach.
Yeah. So then after
He was a teacher basically.
Yeah, he was a teacher.
Huh.
It
But
started.
this tournament change anything in your school? Did you get a football after that at least?
After
Did they open
no. The same thing
No,
was
it
going.
didn't change.
No.
Oh, okay. But what happened? Like from there, what was the next step for you? Now, clearly, you realize that you're good at football, right? So, what happened after that?
So the thing that I told just now was the period of my like 4th grade.
Yeah.
Then I came to the 5th grade, and then again the league was happening. Like I just told that it happens
Yeah.
in a once a year.
Yeah.
So again that league was happening, and then I don't know, that year was not like. It was my mistake. Like there were some students who told me that you are so good, you should go and join the senior team. So I just went because in senior team most of the people were like of my class and they were my friend. So I just went to that senior team, and then I think we lost the match second time. So we
Second
did,
round.
yeah, second round. So I didn't play that much in my 5th grade, but it was like we used to play that. After that we used to play in school. Like there was some changes happened in 5th grade. When I was 4th grade there was no changes, but when as soon as I came to 5th grade, like the principal there was a cement ground, you know, there was no grass ground in my school.
Okay.
So and that cement was so hard, you know.
Yeah.
So what principal did is he put that goal post on that cement, okay, and then everybody used to play on that cement. We got injured, like it's too hard, no, the surface
Yeah.
is too hard.
Yeah.
So we used to play there.
But you got football.
Then after that we
After
got
5th
football.
grade,
In
you started
5th,
getting
yeah, in
football.
5th grade we got.
Through this transition from the time when you played the league for the first time till this point where you were going to play for KKM, how was your parents' response? Like how were they feeling about it?
See, when I was in my 4th and 5th class, my parents don't have any objection. Like everything was done by my didi and bhaiya. But like if I used to go and travel some to a place, then those bhaiya and didi used to like take care of us. They used to book a bus or cab and then take us to that event. No, and
So
then
parents are not worried then.
Yeah.
So they were comfortable.
Yeah.
But they didn't have any objections with you playing or
No,
anything?
no.
That's good.
No,
Okay.
at that time they don't have.
Yeah.
They were like just play. And also I was on that time I was like topper, you know.
Oh,
So if grades are coming, nobody will have problem.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, but when I joined 6th class, then Didi Bhaiya also left. Then I told you about that park. No, it was
Yeah.
like 1 hour away from my home,
wow. Okay.
and I have to go by walking, and then train, and then
Walking?
Yeah, walking. 1 hour walking.
Okay.
And then वहाँ पे I used to train and then come back.
This is like in the morning or after school?
After school. We
Okay.
used to have a morning school.
Okay.
Then after finishing my school, I used to go for training. Like come home, just change and have lunch, and then I used to leave for football.
Okay.
And then come back.
Okay.
So, but we used to go as a group. Like everybody used to come together in somebody's house, and then we used to
Walk
travel.
together.
Yeah, because going alone at that stage is not safe in that area. So that thing was going on. So on that time, my parents were like, they were so worried for me. Like you are so small and you can't. And even
You were how old at this point? 12,
I was
13?
like, no, 11 I think. Yeah,
Okay.
11. I was like 11. So they were like quite worried. And also what used to happen is the area, the roads where I live is not so good, you know. When it used to rain, the water flows come till the like knee, and at that time we were so small, no, so the water used to come till our waist. So it was like,
So it's dangerous.
yeah, it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
So that was the reason why my parents
They were worried.
literally forced me to stop football.
Acha.
At that moment, Amar Bhaiya came to my home, and then he convinced my mom to please send me to football. And then again, I joined football.
Oh, she got convinced.
Yeah,
Was that
yeah.
difficult or it was?
It was difficult. Like he came to my house like for twice or thrice. So then only she got convinced. And then also if nobody used to go, like if like there's a point when where other like my friends' parents don't have any problem, so those people used to go alone also, so it's okay for them. But I can't, my parents never allow me to go alone because I was so small, you know. So they always used to told me that if you want to go and play, you should have like your friends with you. And also like they told those my coaches that please if it's tonight, then you should come and drop her to the home like this. So they were like, okay, we'll do that.
Oh, so they agreed to
Yeah.
all the conditions.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then still I was like, still at that point I was facing problem because I haven't played football like for 4 to 5 months. I was just playing in school, and
Yeah.
there's a difference between like playing in a school and then playing as a team.
Yeah.
So after some time, like when I went, the Delhi national trials was coming. So when I went there in my 7th grade, so that was the first time when I went for the national trials. And then at that time I
This
got
was state trials or national trials?
national. I mean
Oh.
nationals.
Okay, for
state.
nationals to be a part of the Delhi state team.
Yeah, Delhi
Okay.
state team.
Okay.
So at that time, it was like the most like shocking time for me, because at that point I got to know like how like good or bad at what level I am, because I saw the real competition over there. Like all the girls from the overall parts of Delhi, they all came, like about 200 girls came on that trial.
So what age group is this?
That was under 17.
Under 17?
Under 17, and I was the smallest kid in that camp, you know, like I was around 13 years old.
Okay. So the rest of them were big.
Yeah.
Also physically bigger.
Yeah, they were so big.
But there were 200 people who came for getting selected.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at that time, I got to know like how the football is like. Actually, it's
You
not.
saw the level at which.
I saw the competition, actual competition, and then I realized like at that time, when I went for the nationals, I didn't got selected, and I think that was the like turning part of my life.
Okay.
Like when you don't get selected in some trials and you got rejected, then it's too hard. Like it was so hurting for me that how I play so good and still I was not able to like get selected. So it was too like I was feeling so sad, and that at that time I decided.
Though you were a 13-year-old
Yeah.
competing against
Yeah,
other older
yeah.
people, you were still very disappointed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at that time, like, I decided that I'll play national for sure.
Oh, you had
Yeah, one day.
ठान ली
Yeah.
कि मेरे को करना ही है.
Yeah. Because, like, you know, to experience that rejection wali feeling is so bad. And I can't like handle that feeling.
How long
rejected.
did it take for you to get over that?
No, I didn't. At that time, it was not like it was theek hai, I'll do it. Like friend will also like everybody like around from my team around 6 to 7 girls went and nobody got selected. So it was like theek hai, friend bhi nahi hua, main bhi nahi hui, but it hurts, no?
Yeah.
So after that moment, I decided that I'll play. From that time, I'll take football seriously and I'll train regularly, and I don't care about my parents. Let them say anything. I'll let them say anything. I'll just go for football. And then after that, I used to like go for my training like by like at afternoon my parents used to sleep. No, my father was like he used to go for job, and my mom used to sleep. So at that time, the moment she slept, I used to just go and run, run for football. So after that, when I went for my like when I came in eighth standard, then again the nationals
Went
came.
again for the state
nationals.
trials. Huh.
I gave trial, and then at next like when I went in next round, I got selected finally.
Okay.
And I was like 14 at that age, same category I
Under
went.
16, but you were 14.
Under 17.
Under 17,
Yeah.
sorry. Huh.
So at that time I got selected. Like so what used to happen is like there are like 200 girls, like around whoever wants to come and participate, they can come. And then from that only like top 30 list will be announced.
Okay.
So like those trials are for like just 2 or 3 days. Not even 3 days, like it will be completed in 2 days.
Okay.
They will select top 30 players in those 2 days. So hopefully I got selected at that time. And then we had a camp. Okay, the camp was like 1.5 months long.
Oh, wow.
In Delhi. So it was like near Sarojini Nagar, you know.
Yeah. That's a little far, no?
Yeah.
You can't
Sarojini
walk
Nagar.
also in an hour.
No. I used to go by bus.
Huh.
And so when I got selected, then my parents were so happy, you know.
Oh, nice.
Like, still my selection was not confirmed. I was in only top 30.
The squad, you were in the 30.
Top 30.
Huh.
But the traveling list is like top 20.
Huh.
So after 1.5 months, they will announce. They'll announce the top 20 list.
Huh.
So I was still like taking that risk, going traveling every day for like 1.5 months.
And your parents were okay with it?
Ha. So like when I told them that I am playing so good and I think I'll get select this time, so they were like, okay, we'll see. And then my mother used to come with me every day.
Oh, wow.
Every day she used
So
to
that
come.
1.5 month ka jo camp tha, that was like every day or certain number?
Every day I have to go.
7 days a week?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think only there will be like 1 day rest. Maybe that was not confirmed. So, but I have to travel every day by bus. It used
And your
to,
mother came every time.
yeah, she used to come every day, like, because I can't travel. She won't let me travel that far alone. So she used to come with
And
me.
she'd seen you play before, or this was the first time she was
No,
seeing
this
you play?
this was the first time.
And then what did she think?
And then I don't know. She was like, "Okay, you are playing." I think like she don't have that much knowledge about
Yeah.
football. So when she used to go and sit there, then she used to talk to other parents. Then other parents used to tell all the rules of football to her. So then slowly she got interested in football. And then after that point, she was like, okay, let her. She used to tell my father that it's okay, let her do whatever she wants to do. So my mother was okay, and my papa is like, he don't have any problem. He
जो
will
भी
be
है
like,
चलेगा.
हाँ जो करना है करो, but अच्छे से करो.
हाँ.
He always used to say me one thing, if you are doing something, just do it with your full heart. Don't do a time pass wala thing in anything. He just used to say this thing to me and that's it. So उसके बाद
हाँ अभी बहुत टेंशन हो रहा है. हुआ क्या? Did you get through to the top 20 or no?
yeah finally
Okay,
I got selected, and that after that point my parents didn't have any problem with my football. So
So that
but I
it
was
became
not,
better?
yeah, it became better, but I was not like, I understood one thing at that time, like being a topper doesn't mean like you are learning things, like you should study, but you should also participate in other things. Like a topper is like just so focused on studying, and then I came to a point where I decided that I don't want to be a topper anymore. Like I don't want to study so hard now. Like I need good grades, like average, not above average is my standard. So at that time I started like thinking about study and football, like how to manage, because it was like at the bigger level you go, it become more
Correct.
difficult.
Yeah,
no?
9th, 10th
Yeah.
say usually everything changes.
Yeah.
Things become more serious.
Yeah. And board exam
Board
was
exams
also
are coming.
there.
Yes.
So like these things were going on, and my performance in football was also improving. So when you became so good at something, then your interest improve, and then it's like, so you can't live without that
So you were
feeling.
like at that point, I'm guessing you're also watching football.
Yeah.
And, not just playing, but also thinking about football
Yeah.
outside and
Yeah.
talking about football to everybody.
On that time, everything was football only.
yes.
Yeah.
And academically, you were able to stay above average, what you were saying earlier.
On that time,
So your parents are also happy.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, moving on to the next most important thing. It never ends, right? 10th is most important, then 12th is most important. Now college is more important,
Yeah.
right? So what were you thinking, and what were your options at that point?
So when I was in 12, when I just gave my board exam, after that, like I was like blanked, I didn't have any idea what to do next, like in which college to go. And also on that time I was like I was playing like IWL2, so I was going higher in higher
Explain
level.
a little bit. What is IWL2?
IWL2, like there are two IWL. First is IWL1, and then
What's the full form?
Indian Women's League.
Indian Women's League.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the top stage league in Indian women's foot in India
It's
India.
like ISL.
Yeah, like for boys, ISL used to happen.
Yeah.
Same for girls, IWL used to happen.
Got it, okay.
Yeah. So at that time, like after finishing my 12th, I played I was like about to play IWL2
Okay.
from Garhwal FC.
Okay.
So like I was also going higher level in football, but I also have to keep my studies in my mind, like.
Yeah.
But at that time I didn't have any plan, like which college to go. So
Did it even feel important? Like you're doing so well in football, why do you have to worry about college?
no, like see, as a person, I have always balanced my academic and football. And the most important point is, like, if I want to continue my football, I have to give grades to my parents also, no.
Okay.
So, and also I have to study. If I'll get, like, if I'll compromise with my studies, then my parents, like, there will be problem with my
Support
parents.
will not be there. Was that only your parents, or somewhere inside you were also
No, see,
keeping that as
yeah, like, it's not just parents. As I told you before, like, my parents were, like, at that point they were really supportive, you know.
Yeah.
In everything they were pushing me to go do whatever whatever I want. But I also, like, as a personal, I also want to balance my academic and football. It's not, I just don't want to just get divert towards the football and leave my academic things.
Why not? But
No, like, see, the thing is, even if I go fully in football, and I also play, if I think in a long term, so even if I become, like, professional football player, and I play so good, I play at India level, then there will be a time when a player has to stop. So in my mind, there was one question: what if when I'll stop playing football, then what will be there in my hands? Like, what will I go with? Like, after it, I won't be having any option. Like, if I compromise with my studies now.
so Raziya, now you're in college and you're trying to balance your football and studying here. What is like the biggest challenge in that?
Right now, for me, the biggest challenge is, like, attendance fell apart. To get above, like, to manage 75%, and with football, it's, like, quite hard for me. And eventually, I can't do that, you know. With 75%, I can't pursue my football. So, like, the APU, they also, like, gave me relief of attendance. They gave me, like, 60% relief of attendance. So it's,
So
like,
that helps?
yeah.
Is that okay?
Like,
And like also just wanting to know that keeping the idea of education also being there, like making sure that you are learning
yeah.
while you are able to kind of perform
Yeah.
in your football career. See, this is you are able to manage with this, or this is also challenging?
Sometimes it depends on the course, like how hard the course is. Like, in some course I am able to manage, like, it's not that hard for me. But in some course, like, when I miss some stuff of the course, like, when I start the course and then in middle I just go and play football, and I
You miss some
that
in between chapters and then
information, you know. And then again understanding that course, it's quite, like, difficult, you know. So that's the one challenge that I face, like, understanding the information, you know, the course, like, constantly. And also, and the another thing is attendance. Like, these two things are hard for me to go with football.
Got it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's some moments or some things that could have been different, which would have made this journey for you easier?
Like, there can be things, like, if I talk about my school or college, there can be things that can be done with the school
systems.
principal or the college system, you know. Like, there are some people, there will be some players who might go and choose the college where there is no restriction of attendance, and they will, then after that they will be easily going with their interest, no.
Yeah.
But there are, like, it also depends on your background, you know. When somebody's background is so good, and then they are just, like, they will be able to, like, do everything, you know. Like,
So you mean like if they have privilege and
Yeah.
if they have the backing from
Yeah.
family and
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
money
they have resources, so it's easier for them to manage things. But when your background is not that so strong, then you have to also you have to get think about study. So I think my school or the college, they can help it out, whether things are not going on track, like when I'm missing some course, when I some part of the course, they can help me out with that peer tutoring things. They can also take online classes, and when I'm not there in college and there is some in-class assessment, so there should be a thing where a player where a student can come for that exam online, and also the attendance wala thing is also restriction. I know, I can understand the reason why there is a restriction. The students who really wants to study, they it's easy for them, and it should be there. When a person is just focusing on studies, then it's meant for them, they will attend classes. But when a person who is also handling something else, so there should be a point where things should be seen like
Some
that.
systems have to
Yeah.
be built which makes
Yeah,
these
things
sort
easy.
of accommodations a little
Yeah.
more easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need role models, and you clearly are a role model. I think you are a role model for many athletes in the country. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
What do you guys feel? What's the next from here?
It was during PU and university, which is where I was slightly older, is when the seriousness also came in, and I was like, okay, this is something I want to do. So I think that phase is where a lot of major decisions are being taken.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of moving from phase 2, stage 2 to stage 3, and stage 2 end is that 9th standard, 10th standard stage,
yeah.
where it becomes a little difficult and you have to make some decisions, right?
Yeah.
What do you
And
give up?
What do you give up, and is there really a future in this, and all those questions come up.
I was playing basketball in PU for Mysore district, and my maths tuition master said basketball is not important, you have to write the exam. So I think that's where the motivation is.
Yeah.
And then we enter the university.
Yeah, and I think we might have lost already a significant chunk of possible athletes at this stage itself, 9th standard, 10th standard, and then a smaller, let's say, cohort moves on to the next stage, which is 16 to 23, where you start training a lot more for a particular sport. You start doing, picking a sport more generically, and then also competing, right? So you start taking part in a lot of competitions for that sport, locally, district level, national level, all of those aspects start.
Yeah, and I think it's this is also the time where you play more competitions, you do play more games, more matches and stuff. So you also know the different ways in which you can go pro, right? So for example, when I joined university, I knew I had to get selected for the university team. If we do well in the university, then you get for the state selections, then you go for the state selections. If you get selected there, then you have a chance of going to India camp. That was one route which was there, right, which was clear. But I don't know for all the other sports, will there be a very clear path like that? I mean, kids here in...
So we can think about our own universities.
Yeah, I mean,
think
even
about what would be the path for someone.
It's usually the sports quota fellows,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Those are the guys who've chosen
the
to some
university
extent,
itself.
the
But
university-based
think
ones.
about this, like when we have kids who are in like 8th standard, 6th standard, 7th standard, who already know you need to go for IIT coaching, you need to write an exam, you do that course, and then you have success. How many 6th standard, 7th standard students know how to go pro in sports? The pathway is so, blurry.
And I'll just give you a couple of examples because, Kailash, you can tell me because, we went through it ourselves and now we see our own students going through it. Let's say that you did everything right. Like by 14, 15, you've sort of at the peak of sports, you can compete at the national level. What is the way forward? And really, as you said, right, there are only two paths that are sort of there. Either you are join some kind of state-based team, so it could be Sports Authority of India or the different bodies which hold those sports. You go from a district level to state level to national level, and then if you make it to national camp, you might get picked up for India level. Getting that kind of exposure could get you some other things like jobs or pick from clubs. Or else there's another path which to me is kind of a dead end in India. So, because you also have now students who are playing at school level, who are playing at college level. We also played at school and college level. And I think this is something irrefutable, right? That in school and college playing does not translate into anything.
Nah.
Like I remember there were myths, right? Of some of us would really do really well in the college level. Yeah. And then at the end of the college, all your friends have got from the placement cell jobs, but you have nothing. You have basically access to almost minimum wage paid sports quota job somewhere at the most, which is unexciting.
Yeah. And a really bland looking certificate, which said
really bland looking. Or you can use that to try and get into the defense, NDA or police, and use that sports training to make a career in something else. But really, there's no path. Even if you look at something like sports which are well established, like football or cricket, playing for your university or playing for your college or school doesn't give you anything. You have a much better route if you, let's say, join a private academy or a private stadium, and they kind of have a club, and from there you can get into state teams. Now leagues are coming in different sports, right? So you can get into sports teams. But there's no payoff. There's no path there. And that's not the case in other countries. I think that's one definite difference in India, and let's say if you look at very successful sports countries, most of them developed countries, of course, Europe, America, but their being part of sports and college itself helps you to the next step.
Most of the Olympic athletes are actually US university athletes, and not necessarily, like if you look at the medal count, I think the more medal count will go to US universities than other countries.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
And why is it the US universities invest so much? So there are of course 2-3. So one is US universities are very rich.
Yeah.
So of course they had the funds to start with. But if you look in India now, Indian private universities who have owners who have a lot of funds, it's possible. But the other big thing is in America, they've allowed universities to commercialize sports. So, historically, college sports in America has a huge audiences. So, American football, basketball, overtime tennis, athletics, like you actually had local following. So much so that, the local university teams would be bigger than the professional team. In fact, there's so many. So, like, you might get like 20,000-25,000 viewers, regular attendance for matches.
That's like Malappuram.
And what US universities have to do, which is a rule, which is, of course, it's a different discussion, is that they invest in the best coaches, the best infrastructure, because athletes who they get don't get paid. So from their perspective, they can get world class, the best athletes in each sport, get them to a university, promise them a good education, and in exchange those athletes play for the university, and they get access to the best coaches, and they provide a stepping stone to become professional. So like basketball is something I forget, where I follow. Some schools produce almost most of the NBA players.
Yeah.
And what do the university gets from it? So they can monetize the athletes. So not only the matches, the tickets, but jerseys, merchandise. Now you can telecast. Like there's so many ways you can monetize it.
And even the companies have gotten into this, right? So in FSU where I studied, it was a Nike university.
Yeah, FSU stands for?
Florida State University was a Nike university. Everything was provided by Nike. They funded the whole thing.
Okay,
and
so there was a
partnership with the...
So we're basically saying the university created the culture that we talked about.
Yeah,
earlier.
and then it was taken... But I also realized America also has a high school sports culture.
So they do have. So there's something feeding into the university.
Yeah, so it has a very clear feeder system.
And the high school is similar. They also monetize. Like they have matches, they have merchandise. Not the same scale as universities, but there is some commercial interest which allows them to spend so much money into this.
A lot of Indian athletes are actually looking at this as an option to, after their schooling, look at undergrad in one of the universities in the US. It's only for specific sports, like tennis, for example, is a sport, athletics, where you can go and study in the US and get the benefits of that system to make pro. And we know this from our earlier examples as well, as a lot of our successful athletes have actually trained abroad, right? So that's another short-term plan. But another interesting one that you suggested earlier, Rahul, was from the study that Richard Wood had done, which is looking at our talent clusters.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you had to bring this question that, if India wanted to be a sporting nation or a sporting competitive nation, what can they do? And I think one answer which, all of you will agree, and I think even our guests agree, is that there is no shortcut system.
Yeah.
Nope.
Like the best players in India are probably the best because they were so exceptional that even against all the barriers they managed to become the best, and not that they were really good and then the system made them even
The
better.
system didn't help.
In fact, the gap between the medal winning or the elite and the next is actually, from a layman's term, very small. Like it's just a matter of seconds actually, or a matter of just a little bit of differences. But if you have to think about, if you look at other successful countries, there's really, given the sheer complexity of India's sporting infrastructure, there is no 5-10 year plan that can make us have that jump where, you started by saying like we have less than 20% of the athletes that China or America do.
Yeah.
In the next 5-10 years, there's even doubling that number is quite a challenge, honestly.
Yeah. So there you have it. From us, we think that if we want to be like a sporting nation, we define sporting nation as a nation which is an active nation and not just a nation which gives us more Olympic medals. So the base of the pyramid has to be active people from which we will get possibly in the future maybe more Olympic medals. But the more important thing is the activity at the ground level. Thanks a lot for joining us for this episode. Please comment below on what you think is the big stumbling block in India right now for elite athletes.
You're listening to
आप सुन रहे हैं
You're listening?
നിങ്ങൾ കേൾക്കുന്നത്
ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ
Radio
Radio.
Azim Premji
ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. This non-commercial program is for educational purposes only.